What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Commentary for you. I know somebody's going to say, he's never satisfied. He's never happy with anything EA does. But you know what, guys? We got to be realistic. You know, these mouthpieces are done horribly, right? It's an asset that's probably tagged to the helmet. The player's face and mouth go right over them. They just sit there in front of their lips. Now, listen, I'm glad EA put them in the game. I appreciate the effort that they took to put them in the game. But I think, as most things with EA, we don't just want it done. We want it done right. And it's clearly not done right. When you go back and you look at 2K5, I had this clip on my channel the other day. This is a cutscene from a sideline. You don't see the player's mouth going through the mouthpiece. Right? You have to do things the right way. And to me, in a vacuum, we see this all too often with EA. Just not doing things the right way. And I'm going to show you the most clear-cut example ever. In a video, I'm trying to compliment EA. I throw a touchdown pass to T.Y. Hilton, okay? I want you to notice where Taylor is on this play as well. And I go over, I look at my sideline, right? And I'm asking myself, do my players on the sideline have mouthpieces? And they don't, which is fine. But then I say to myself, as I exit out, I notice on the sidelines, on the other side of the field, that something's there. This is an offense-only practice. And then you realize the lack of attention to detail, the lack of care. Because what in the name of the New England Patriots are my division rivals, the Jacksonville Jaguars, doing on this sideline? And not only that, the coding on this is so bad. If you actually watch them, half of them are coded to celebrate, and the other half are coded to be upset. Because EA doesn't care about a quality product. They don't care about what they put in the game. They just put it in the game. So when people come out and champion them, for 15 years of waiting for mouthpieces, that's when it's hard for me to really be excited about it, right? That's when it's really hard for me to not look at something perfectly and question why it isn't done better than it is. Why it looks rushed into a patch. And I want to talk about that for just a moment. Let's look at the mouthpieces. Okay, sure, it looks decent, okay? But does it matter when Taylor's hands are going up and down because he's searching for a catch animation that's on the opposite side of the field when the ball is thrown to the corner of the end zone? Okay? Does it really matter if you want to look at maybe the beauty of this game, right? And you have this happening? Or maybe you decide you're going to zoom in and take some pictures of the HD graphics, right? And you realize the player's mouth just goes through the mouthpiece. This is one practice. This isn't doing it right. And the culmination of not doing things right carries over to every other aspect of this game. I've never seen this player model before until this sideline. This guy dislocates both shoulders to celebrate. Someone at EA made this asset, put it in the game, and then someone else checked it off and said, yeah, this looks fine. This is how we get to where we are. Is it a small detail? Absolutely. But in the bigger picture of making a quality game, is it huge? In my opinion, yes. Because it's not just this, it's the copy and paste, right? I brought this up last year. The fans in this game are pasted everywhere fans need to be. This practice facility has a cameraman pasted from the game. There's no TV camera here. The fans behind that glass are pasted from any other aspect of the game. It's copy and paste. You need a fan asset? This is the one we're using. You need a cameraman asset? This is the one we're using. You need a mouthpiece asset? This is the one we're using. But let's talk about those mouthpieces. Let's ask ourselves, why after 15 years was this patched into the game? After 15 years, what changed? Well, you know what changed? They brought in a game mode called The Yard. And in The Yard, they were selling these mouthpieces. And I talked about this before the game released, and there were people that defied me. There were people that said, you're wrong. You're hating on EA. You're hating on Madden. They're not going to sell mouthpieces. Well, now we know they are. And because there was a monetary reason, right? Because they could actually make money off these mouthpieces, that's what changed everything. Okay, you being a fan of this game, you asking for them for the sake of simulation football, for the sake of presentation, for the sake of realism, wanting mouthpieces in the game, that didn't matter. For over 15 years, that did not matter. You know what had to matter? A way to make money. Once they had a way to make money, that changed the whole game. Once they had a way to profit, once they had a way to make somebody pay for it, now there's a reason to put it in the game. Now they're inspired. Now they're ready to work. Now they're ready to put the best game out. That's why this game is awful. That's why every year this game comes out to a lower and lower and lower user score. That's why we can go back to games like All Pro Football 2K and NFL 2K5 and even dare have a comparison. Because EA seems to be motivated by one thing, and one thing only: how they can make money with this game. And that's what the effort gets put into. And I'm not saying that's a bad business model to have, but what I'm saying is that doesn't get you the most quality product, because you're not listening to your customer, you're not respecting your fan base, and you're not putting out the product they want. If you put out a better product, it's going to sell. But you're not worried about a better product. You're worried about doing the least effort to get the most response. I saw people on Twitter talking about the Browns uniforms being in the game correctly. We're at a time where people are championing a company that makes the only NFL licensed game for getting uniforms right. Think about that. Think about that. You've got people not only going into the game and taking pictures, but sharing them on social media and saying, "Thank you, EA Sports. You put the orange pants in for the Cleveland Browns and mouthpieces." The rest of this game is so far behind. And this is what they're doing. And the reason they're doing it is not for you, is not for me, is not to make the game better. If it was, I would be all for it, okay? But we know the reality is the reason they're doing it is to sell these mouthpieces in the yard. And to sell them in the yard, they had to carry them over to every other aspect of the game. And you know what? If they're going to have to wait to make the game profitable, to make you buy something to make other aspects of the game, then it's never going to get better. They're never going to fix blocking. They're never going to fix the animation issues. They're never going to fix the coaching. They're never going to have the playbooks right. Because they're showing us they don't care about franchise mode. And we know why. They can't monetize franchise mode. Because clearly this is cut and dry proof. If you can't monetize it, they're not going to bother with it. Now, a couple years ago, I said they need to monetize franchise mode because it's the only way they're going to have any incentive to make it better. People got very angry with me. People got very upset. People said, "I don't want my franchise mode monetized." You know, I don't either. But the reality is, it's more and more likely that that may be a necessary evil for them to actually go in and fix the game mode. And I hate to say that. I really do. It pains me to think that the end result may be buying draft classes, maybe paying actual money to scout players. But that may be the only thing that we have to allow EA to actually sit down and progress toward a game mode that we want. That may be the only thing that fixes certain aspects of team building. That may be the only thing that fixes actually building players up properly, is if EA finds a way to nickel and dime its customers. Because just from a graphic standpoint, it worked wonders for mouthpieces. And to be honest with you, mouthpieces are a simple thing to tag into a game. Okay? This isn't a big thing. This isn't going in and really fixing anything, okay? This isn't completely rebuilding something from the ground up in terms of logic and management and team building, okay? This is just literally putting an asset to a helmet and having it there or not. No different than a towel would be tied to a uniform. So if you expect that they're going to make hard programming, hard logic, detailed things better, then I don't know what to tell you. Everything points toward this game being the lowest common denominator on every single front. And if you think that's being negative, if you think that's not being appreciative, if you think that's being too hard on EA, then I don't know where you've been the last 15 years. But I have a feeling it's not been purchasing this subpar product. I have a feeling it's not been looking at the same game issues every single year. And what should have been kind of a proud moment for EA. Hey, we patched something in that you've wanted for 15 years. All it did was serve as a reminder the only reason they do things is because they want microtransactions driven, whether it's the Yard or Madden Ultimate Team. You know, you couldn't listen to your customer, but you sure listen to our wallet. And as I said, I think that's the only way we're going to see the franchise mode that we want, is if they find a way to let us speak with our wallet. And I hate that it's came to that, but every part of EA Sports improving its game comes down to that one key thing. Can they monetize it? Love to know what you guys think about that. I'd love to know if you're still frustrated by it. I wish I could find that old video. Probably one of my most negatively received videos ever was bringing up the fact that this is something that may be a necessary evil for us. And here we are years later, and it's staring us right in the face with a mouthpiece on. Love to know your thoughts on this. Appreciate you checking it out. You know I will be back in the week with more commentary.